Oh my gosh, are we doing it? We did
I
it.
think we are. Oh wow.
High five.
It's happening.
It's happening. And now the lawnmower's going. I was telling JJ before we jumped on that right as we were about to do this, we got the lawn guy next door. So hopefully you can hear.
The Lord tests you, doesn't he? The Lord tests you. It's a test.
Exactly. So hey, I just gotta like find my setup because now that it cuts like half the screen off. Well, to all those just popping on, saying hi, we are just gonna do this. First live over here for Waken and Free. Very fun. Thanks for doing this with me, JJ.
No problem. I think it's funny because nobody on my side of the world knows that I'm doing this. So, so this is
It's like
I
brand
kept
new.
this from I kept this from everybody that on my side of the world because I know it's like it's your baby. I'm gonna help my friend, and I can already see one or two people that I know joining this live.
Oh,
So
fun
I'm
times.
exposed. I'm exposed. I'm exposed.
That's what the live will do. Just puts it all out there, unedited. Yeah, so I am leading a retreat in Cape Town with you for those kind of listening in. And so Jonathan will be part of the first section, and then we're doing the safari. But I was just like, I want people to like get to know us. Maybe you know me in person, but maybe you just follow me and we're Instagram friends. So just wanted to give us a bit of our personalities, who we are, why we're doing this, why it's going to be amazing. And I have known this guy for a long time, and I'm just excited that we get to test this out because we're both in the movement world, which is one of the pillars we're going to talk about. So before we dive in, you want to say anything else?
Well, I mean, it's hard. It's a big responsibility because now I'm tasked with with the responsibility of hopefully getting your peeps to Cape Town and South Africa. All of a sudden, I want to end this call. I'm like, okay,
It's a
the
lot of pressure.
responsibility is too big.
Yeah, people are depending
But
on you.
look, where did we start, Alison? We started in about 2008, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's our little friendship beginning. And you were actually doing some work in Africa, or you're about to do some work in Africa, in Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a mutual
Wait, should
friend
we
of us from the
save that for
US.
friendship part? Okay, we're doing this now.
Oh, what did you want to do first? Do you want to do Cape Town or movement or what?
Yeah,
Me?
no, I like it. Keep going, keep going.
Yeah, so I mean, we had this mutual friend, and it was Eric Neated, who was a summer camp friend of mine. I'd be surprised if he joins now. It would be amazing if he joins. And he had the idea that you come into Cape Town, and we should meet, and that we'd get along. And he didn't end up coming, but we ended up being pen pals. Like, if I
Yeah,
can still say that
this
word.
was like no, it was like the first virtual pen pal. It was like 2007 Facebook times. And Eric kept telling me, like, you got to friend my friend Jonathan. And I was like, I don't even know this guy. No. And he kept asking me. Finally, I was just like, hey, I'm this random girl from the US. I'm coming to live in Uganda. I want to come to Cape Town. Nice to meet you. And you're like, I've been waiting for you to reach out because I guess Eric told both of us. And yeah, we just wrote for years via Messenger.
Yeah, because you didn't end up coming that year, and then we just
No.
and I liked the idea of pen pals. For some reason, it was just this cool thing that you heard about, like you read about in storybooks, pen pals. But I
Totally.
think that is so outdated. I don't think people do pen pals anymore. I don't think so.
Well,
Um,
I like it too. And I feel like it's a very unique part of our like friendship story. And yeah, I always just like cherish that about us. I just think it's
it
so
was
cool.
also it was also the time when long form writing was still in vogue, like long form
Yeah.
emails, long form messages,
Yeah.
and now it's all been reduced to like the
Hey,
quickest
wait.
kind of
I
language.
gotta share this. So okay, I lived in Uganda for a while, and I went back. I went two different times. And my second time, we were pen pals, but again, I am like living in the middle of nowhere, so like internet is not great, and we would send a flash drive back and forth to each, like via mail. I think a few times we sent a flash drive with like videos, and we would like share this flash drive. So like
Oh my word, that's
this
true.
is like before we had all, and it wasn't that long ago. So I feel old saying like, man, times have changed. Here we are. Technology has
Jeepers.
moved us quickly. So
And
yeah.
eventually you made it to Cape Town.
Yeah.
I
While
think
I
it
was
was
living in Uganda, I
which
just took a
year was that?
holiday.
Which year was
2012.
that?
We finally met in person like 5 years later. Yeah.
And I think you had a decent time. I think you had an amazing time. I think
I did.
that was really cool. I didn't get to take you. I didn't get to go with you on safari. And like, this is the embarrassing thing. The embarrassing thing is that I've never been on safari, and I'm about to like endorse you and endorse your people to come over here and do a little safari trip. And I've never
Well,
been on one
well, I've been
myself.
on a few, so I feel like I'll take the reins for that part. Because I've been on one. So before we dive into, actually, as we shift into the like South Africa Cape Town part of our chat, I think so. South Africa just holds like a really special place to me because it was like my very first like real international trip. I went to London, but then like South Africa was my next like trip. This girl who'd never like left the US. And so, but I'd always been like very intrigued by African culture. And when I got to like with my college go for a month, I wasn't in Cape Town, but I was just like something unlocked in me, which is like a big part of what I do with Awaken and Free, is like paying attention to those things within you that like ignite and come to life. And I felt that in South Africa. I was like, oh, when I graduate, I'm coming back. I'm moving here. I'm going to teach. Like I had this plan, and it didn't go that way. But I ended up like moving to Uganda, and then but Cape Town was like always on my list. I like really wanted to go there, but didn't get to that first trip to South Africa. So I like really attribute a lot of my love of travel and culture and to South Africa. So yeah, but then got to go to Cape Town, and I was like, yes,
But
this is
that
my
was
place.
it was quite funny because I mean you did that. You came to Cape Town on the back of like super raw Africa. Like I mean,
yes.
where the village you were in Uganda, that was quite something. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you bought sandals. I remember this. You bought sandals that were made out of tires, car tires.
Yes.
I mean, it's ingenious.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I
that
love
is.
them. Like I loved those. Yes. Yeah. I show up in like modern Cape Town, like straight out of the bush of Uganda. Like it was culture shock from like almost a year living that way to then like, oh my gosh, cafes and coffee. Like it was just, yeah, it was pretty cool. So I remember, yeah, you took me to see some really awesome things. We laughed a lot. I just remember feeling like this is a city I want to come back to, and I haven't been back since.
And so the cool thing about that is like 10 years, 11 years down the line, in many ways it's gotten so much better. In many ways it's gotten better. And I subsequently in the last 10 years I've made it my mission to almost saturate myself in and immerse myself in the nature of Cape Town, because I mean the way that I grew up, I didn't have access to doing so many things that I can do right now. So it's almost as if I whatever I missed in childhood, and I had an amazing childhood, but in terms of access and resources and doing things that you can do around Cape Town, all of that started probably 10 years ago, and I've not stopped. And so to sit here and tell you that, you know, since my exploration of just the surrounding Western Cape Town area, and I really have saturated myself, immersed myself in it, and I haven't gone tired of it. Like every day I still want to be here. Every day I still want to be here, and I've made a like we've got mountain and we've got ocean, and we've got like different like 4 seasons in a day.
Uh-huh.
and we've got different vernaculars. So you, in one part of the city, you will see this ocean, this mountain, and 15 minutes later you can be on a completely different side of the city, and you won't know where you are, and it's a different ocean, and it's a different side of the mountain. So it's kind of like, before this call I was thinking, what would I say, and what would I say, and I wanted to say something like, Cape Town embodies every amazing, beautiful city, nature spot in the world in like little bits and pieces. So, you know, it's not just mountain, it's not just ocean, it's not just an amazing city, it's not just nature and safari and all of those kind of things. It's just all of it in one package so beautifully, and it's everything is within 25, 30 minutes of each other. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm not
remember
just
you took
and I'm not
me.
just saying this. I'm
No.
not just saying this because we're on the call, and I'm trying to,
Sell it.
really encourage your guys to
Yeah.
come on the retreat. It's just, that's my opinion, whether we're having this call or not.
Well, and if you're following JJ online, or you should start, like, you post about, like, you're always just like in awe of where you live. Like, you're showing that in your stories. Like, you can tell it's like a genuine love for this place you call home. And yeah, I love, you took me to that spot where like the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean meet. Like that, I think, what do you hike up to it, and then you can like just see where like the oceans kind of convert. I mean, it's one,
So that's called Cape Point, and at the
yes,
time
yes.
I knew I had to take you to Cape Point, because that's, hey, you
Yeah.
haven't been here before, Cape Point.
Yeah,
But subsequently, like, I don't go to any of those touristy spots anymore.
Yeah.
I've found a lot of little secret spots, and there are
Yes.
some amazing secret spots at Cape Point.
And that's what I'm really excited about doing this with you, because if I were to go back by myself, or anyone who's going to join our trip, like, they're not going to get that. You're going to do the like classic Table Mountain, what is it, Lion's Head, like, which are awesome.
Which are amazing. You have to do that.
But like, also one of my favorite parts of traveling is to be like, meet somebody who's from there, to be like, what do I need to see that like most people aren't going to know about? So
what do the locals know?
Yes.
I want to know that.
So when I do retreats, like, that is kind of, I think, what sets me apart in what I'm doing, is like, I very much want to be collaborating with people from there, because I want to like really taste the culture and like get it, and not just be a tourist there. Obviously we're tourists, but I just want it to feel, like we're getting the inside scoop of the place we go. So that's what's super special about this one specifically, because you're also like such a good friend, and so like there's just going to be a lot of cool dynamic there. And then you're not coming on the safari, like, so what's special to this one is we'll do 4 days in Cape Town, staying at a super cool spot that you found, like eco glamping, tucked in a mountain, but like
in a valley,
beautiful.
Surrounded by a mountain in a valley.
It sounds incredible. The pictures are amazing. And then we'll drive 3 hours or so inland to this safari spot in a wildlife reserve. It's part of like Western Cape, correct? Yeah. And that's like luxury experience. So I'll tell you about it, and then you can go.
And I don't know if I told you this, but I have a client who has a journalist friend who wrote for like some kind of travel magazine, and I asked her about Sanborna, right? It's Sanborna, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I asked her to ask her friend.
Yeah.
And she said that this is without doubt one of the best ones, and she's been to many. So that is like insider scoop of someone who's been to many safaris in around South Africa, and for her to give you that review, I think you've made a good choice on getting that.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that spot. I mean, I've been on a handful of safaris, but like, it's always so amazing to just like see wildlife just in their natural habitat, because we're used to a zoo, and I'm like, so just the cage thing. I feel like, and like the theme of what we're gonna do on this retreat is just kind of talking about living uncaged, untamed, like, and so I think
It,
like bringing that into what we see is just, it's a game drive every morning and evening, and it's just amazing what you get to experience.
I, if I can make a comment on a safari that I've never been on before,
Please.
I think like if you talk about the conscious slash spiritual element of safaris, I think what you will notice for those of us who will pick up on these things is absolute presence of nature. So it's nature doing what nature does with no real sense of forward thinking, backward thinking. You know, there isn't a future, there isn't a past. It's just nature now, and you watch majestic creatures do the now thing. I mean, every human being on planet Earth is espousing to live in the present. Well, why don't you go and have a look at the kings and queens, the pros of presence, and those are these mammals, these animals, and what happens in nature.
Yeah.
So I think it's also a lesson in presence.
Yeah. Could you just tying that in? It's good. It's so true. Yeah, and so what has kind of always connected us is like just our value and love of movement, and we both show up really differently in how we do that, and like, yeah, what that looks like, but I think it's something we both find really significant in our own lives and something we love sharing with others. So obviously for me, that looks like teaching yoga. I like to move in lots of different ways, but like for the sake of this retreat, it's so much about, and like, I'm just, everything I do is like always so interconnected. So like, that's what I love about yoga. It's not just movement. It's like so much more than the movement. It's the emotional, spiritual space to also be connected to yourself, to pay attention to, like we said before, those things within you that bring you life. So I love kind of helping, using movement to take people deeper into their own selves. And you are going to bring movement into our time as well. Talk about that.
Yeah. So my special interest is also definitely movement, and I mean my love of exercise and movement started so many years ago. I think it was the one thing I watched my father do actively all the time, and I don't know, I was just inspired. I actually started out as a personal trainer. It was the first port of call. Everybody, you enter the world of the formality of movement, and personal trainer was maybe the first thing at least guys thought about. And that just evolved because I realized that as a personal trainer, I couldn't work with special populations or special injuries or special conditions. And I knew it was going to get super boring in my sense. And I just wanted depth. I wanted depth. I wanted to really know the ins and outs of human physiology. And I'm still on that road today. But anyway, that led me down a whole path of very formal studies, which I took to a master's level. And I still hope to do a PhD at some point. But my love of movement today, or the way that I use movement, is to help people, mostly in the rehab sense, to get control and autonomy over pain. Pain is a very sexy word in my world, because I love working with people that have pain, that have chronic pain. I love the intricacies and the complexity of pain, and so I use movement as a modality to treat pain, so to speak, and injuries and rehab and everything. And that's why it's so all encompassing for me, because I don't have a dogmatic approach to exercise. There isn't an exercise that beats every other exercise. There isn't a movement practice that beats every other movement practice. I feel all movement practices are valid and beautiful and wonderful and meaningful to those who find it meaningful. So whatever your vibe is, whatever floats your boat in that sense, I support that, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and I bring in some of the elements of, okay, what are we missing? I like asking that question. Okay, what are we missing? And so interesting about yoga, and I'm going to throw this in there.
Okay.
I, I would say yoga might miss an element of and power and speed. Um,
Okay.
and a couple of different things. But you might disagree.
I
But my
mean,
point
speed,
is
yes, but maybe power is there. But keep going.
agility, perhaps.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my point is that you come to me, Allison, and I go, okay, how do we get Allison from where she is now at this age to a ripe old age of 80, 90? And it's all a hypothesis. We don't quite know how that's going to work, but we have like good science, we have good research to show that these are the ingredients that we can throw in the pot that will
Mm-hmm.
help us get there. And so, yeah, I mean, it's so all encompassing, and that's why I have this studio called the Movement Library,
Mm-hmm.
because it's essentially it's a library, and I'm like a cheap librarian. I see myself as a cheap librarian. I know all the books. I work with what books you love to read in terms of
Mm-hmm.
movement, and I support that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So I mean, if you look on my Instagram, it looks, or in the Movement Library, you'll see variations. You know, there's Pilates, there's intense strength work.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I mean, big weights. There is mat work. There are yoga type styles of movement that I do, but it's all in support of the human who's in front of me. Who do I have in front of me?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a Viking or do I have a ballerina? And
A bike.
yeah,
I love those.
it's a thing. It's a thing. Don't ask. It's a thing.
It is a thing. Well, and
But
I
I
like
have
that you're
this.
always focused on like people's longevity. Like we want to live long and well.
Yeah,
So
and I have this thing where I have to clarify the Viking thing. It's not my
okay.
words. It's not my
Okay.
words. I remember this from a guy named Thomas Myers, and Thomas Myers wrote the book Anatomy Trains. And anatomy trains have been very popular amongst physiotherapists, massage therapists, movement practitioners. But he said something very cool, because I went to a workshop with Thomas Myers. He came to Cape Town, and he said this. I've never forgotten this. He said the Viking must become like the ballerina, and the ballerina
Mm,
must become like the Viking. And it
mm,
was just an analogy of
mm,
saying
mm-hmm,
too much of this needs a little bit
mm-hmm,
more of that. And so
mm-hmm.
I try to find all those gaps
Yeah.
and see what people might lack, and
Yeah.
yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah. And on the retreat, you're gonna do a session or something specifically with your movement stuff, and aside from like taking us on hikes and
Yeah.
water things and whatever people want to do. So like there's just plenty of ways to enjoy movement and get a taste of what you do on
Yeah,
our
that
experience.
will essentially be a movement
Mm-hmm.
experience. You can think of it as a cameo class that I would do, but it will be a bit workshopy, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and just to get people thinking.
Yeah.
And it should be some cool moves, you know, just like to deviate and have some variability outside of the yoga walls.
Mm-hmm.
We might find some interesting stuff. So I think that
Yeah.
will be fun.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about what this will be, and so we just want to wrap it up. But this is just a little taste of who we are, what we're excited about on this retreat, and for those of you in the US, we're celebrating Labor Day weekend coming up, and there's always the sales and all the things, and so we thought let's jump in on some of that fun. And so if anyone signs up for the retreat, it's March 2nd through 9th of 2024. All that info is on my website. You'll find it in the link in my bio. Feel free to reach out if you have questions about it. But that, yeah, so all that info is there. But if you're like, okay, I'm like curious, and now I'm super in. These people are cool. I want to be part of their group. I'm going to offer something that I love to do, and JJ also has something to offer. But so with yoga, like one of my most favorite ways of leading is to do one-on-one sessions. I very much love to see people specifically as they are as an individual, like take time to know, like, how's your body at? Where's your body at? Where are you emotionally? what are you working through spiritually, mentally, and then like tailoring a class specifically to help you move through all of that. It's like the things I've gotten to see working one-on-one with people is like just amazing. I love teaching a group class. There's fun energy, but I love doing this. And so if you sign up anytime this weekend through Monday evening, I will offer you 3 sessions completely free. Obviously, you don't have to be in California where I am. I'll do Zoom. Yeah, and so that's like a giveaway. And then JJ will also offer, when you're actually on the retreat, what'd you have? You said 1, 3. What'd you say?
1, 3.
One.
I don't care. I don't care.
Whatever it takes, however many sessions you need in those 4 days.
I'm seriously, I'm open to everything. There's definitely a freebie session with me as well. It's a beautiful space. I mean, you've got 2 beautiful spaces. One is the spot that you're actually going to be staying at, and in Hout Bay. That movement room is insane. I mean, I still can't get that. I can't get that out of my head. How beautiful that space is. And then I've got my own studio, which is just nicely. It's beautiful, I think. And definitely keen to meet some of your people.
Yeah, and this is open to men, women. It's just one of those, like, for a lot of us here in the U.S., like a trip to South Africa is like the dream trip and may never happen. Or it's like that once in a lifetime. So like we want to just create that experience for you where you're like, I got to do that, and like that is forever part of like an experience I'll never forget. And so the beauty of it is you just have to sign up, and then we got all the details. Like you just come, and it's not gonna go. You can't go wrong. So
and look forward to those nature spots, those sweet secret nature spots that I've found. And it's partly why I'll share those nature spots is because, you know, it's not likely I'm going to see many of them again, and it's not likely that they're going to bring a whole bunch of people to those secret nature spots. So I feel safe in sharing them. Dropping in one soap, and you guys are off again.
We won't be taking over your spot. You won't sign us there. We try and have a morning meditation. So I'm just, thanks for doing this with me. It's really fun.
Cool.
And cool. So wrap it up. Have a good rest of
you don't have any experience in saying goodbye on Easter Live, right? That's part of
like, am I supposed
exactly.
To have
I saw that awkwardness. There was a little bit of awkwardness.
Like,
so
do I just X out? What happens now? I don't know. We're gonna save this video, watch it, share a comment, email me if you have questions, and I'm gonna leave. We're both gonna leave.
Before it becomes awkward and before we outstay our welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good night.
Chat soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.